Mr. Sutherland, on the health care bill that has been passed, would you, and go on record as being one to repeal it, and if you can't repeal it, would you be willing to defund it?
I have been very clear for the 10 months on this campaign. Well, it's just the month that was passed that I have signed. I haven't just said. I have signed documents committing my desire to repeal the bill. We all know that you can't repeal the bill until you have the White House and both chambers of Congress. So until then, that bill will be defunded. Now, I have been very clear, in spite of our good recording friends back here who've got a website that says Steve Sutherland is against Social Security and that Steve Sutherland is against Medicare. Okay, that's a lie. That is a lie. I call it what I see it. That is wrong. I've never said that. Okay? I do say this, that when you are spending more money and you have more money going out than you have coming in, that's a train wreck. And it is. It is. He knows it. He heard me. He knows that's wrong the way they've mischaracterized me. All right? My parents are on Social Security. My mom would whip me. Okay? She would whip me. She would whip me, man. And I'm going to tell you something. We have got to fulfill the commitment. Now, they won't print this and they won't play this, but we have got to fulfill our commitment to our seniors. The promises that we have made, that you have worked, you have paid in Social Security, we have got to fulfill that promise. Alan Boyd voted for a health care bill that takes $525 billion out of Medicare. You know what? I wouldn't want to talk about my record if I were him. Okay? Let me just, I want to be crystal clear. We will do everything we can to defund that bill. Okay, while we are letting people go in our small businesses, I will never be a part of hiring 17,000 new employees for the IRS. I will never be about passing more Medicaid expenses down to the states who are already broke under the weight and the boot of the federal government. I will never waver there.
I know you're a Christian.
Born again.
But what is your agenda, if you have one, against killing the ACLU, and stopping this disgraceful trying to get America godless?
That was for me, I'm assuming. I don't know. I think she can handle that question too. Doesn't matter, but I think she can handle it. Let me say this. You know, we have First Amendment rights in this country, okay? And we have founding fathers that I think were brilliant, and they did not want a state-sponsored religion. However, even though we do not have a constitution that endorses a state-sponsored religion, there is nothing wrong. This is a Judeo-Christian nation, okay? And so therefore, and I will tell you this, every president since George Washington, every one, Democrat, Republican, Independent, Federalist, Bull Moose, they've all acknowledged the steady hand of the God of this universe on the hand over this country until the current one. Now I'm going to tell you something. When we can cancel the National Day of Prayer, cancel it. Cancel it. I'm telling you, that is not indicative of the country that I grew up in. I am proud that 4 times in that declaration, signed in 1776, and that was a death warrant for those men that signed that document, they acknowledged the presence of the God of this universe. Nature's law and nature's God. And so therefore, you know, the ACLU, listen, they have First Amendment right. They can say whatever they want to say. They can believe in whatever they want to believe. But at the same time, their rights should not impede upon the rights of the American people. Okay? To express our God, to express our belief in the God who helped form this country.
Steve, do you support the fair tax?
As far as the fair tax, and I want to make sure Matt gets this right because he's gotten this wrong. Yes, you said that I'm in favor of a 23% tax increase, and Matt, that's just not true. Okay? Don't, Matt, come on. Come on. Listen, the fair tax, we have been debating the fair tax for 10 months now. Okay? There are some things that I like about everybody having to pay something.
Yeah.
Okay? I will tell you this. I'm against. I'm also against a VAT. Okay? Because what happens is the people that are in power now, they want it all. Okay? They'd love to have a 23% tax on the people, and they'd love to have a VAT on top of that, and they'd love for us to have a 90% tax bracket. But as far as the fair tax is concerned, it has had incredible study done to it, and I recognize that. It has had endorsement from many people that I respect. Okay? I would be untruthful to you, and because honesty is one of my values, and by the way, I have 6 of those: respect, discipline, excellence, honesty, courage, and loyalty. And because I have those, I will not violate the value of honesty. There are still some concerns, some tweaking to that I believe need to be done. I don't think that small businesses, okay, who will be the collector of that tax, I think that we should be given more consideration. If a federal employee can make $120,000 a year, and the same equivalent person in the private sector makes $60,000, then you can give me more than 0.075 of that tax collected to do your work, sir. Because by the way, in our small business, we love 40-hour work weeks. That's why we try to squeeze 2 into every 7-day period. Okay? And so therefore, I'm tired of sending our profit and the money we make to the federal government so they can waste it while we're doing all their work. So, my commitment, and I want to make sure, because everybody here's wondering about the fair tax, I want to be clear. I want to continue to talk to those that are in full favor of that, continue to tweak my concerns. I'm a fair-minded person. I think we need tax reform in the worst way. But more importantly, right now, we need some spending reform. And so, we're going to eat an elephant. The first bite is spending control. We've got to get some of that under control.
In light of your spending comments for the both of you, I want to know your idea of welfare and reform and ending the entitlement mentality.
I'm shorter. Absolutely, Chris-Ann. We are allowing people to be on the system for years and years and generations, and they don't know any different. They don't know what it feels like to be proud of yourself for getting that first job when you're 14 scrubbing toilets and buying your own little Volkswagen. It's a wonderful feeling to accomplish things. The only thing that being on welfare for generation after generation does is make you a slave to the system. And it completely destroys any sense of accomplishment and humanity that you have. We've got to change that. You have, what's the percentage of people now that are paying taxes versus people that are not? Is it, I think like 45% or so of the people are paying all of the taxes. That's wrong. Just like Steve said, everyone should contribute at least a little. And that I am all for, because you can't be free and you can't be a part of this country until you contribute your fair share.
In 1996, Congress passed Welfare Reform Act. Okay, there was we did have a Democratic president in the White House, and we had the Republican Congress. But if you remember that act, you remember that piece of legislation, it reduced the welfare rolls by 73%. It was called a welfare to work program. Okay, and you empower